Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Juwai IQI Canada Evening Talks. Today is November 1st. And happy Monday to all of you. Happy 1st of November. And, to celebrate the first Monday, I normally have a very special guest with me, which is the Maple Mondays with Haroon Anwar. So, Haroon, welcome to the IQI Canada Evening Talks. How are you doing?
I'm good, Yousaf. Thank you so much for having me on your show. And I very much, every time you invite me, I enjoy our conversations. And I believe and I hope the listeners also find them useful and pertinent to their interests as well.
It's always a pleasure having you on the show because the good thing is that we talk about last time we had a program the careers, what kind of careers people are looking at, and before that we talked so much in terms of general stuff which people want to listen. And and today's our topic is also very interesting. Talking about the startups and the entrepreneurship. So before we even get into what is a startup and what's happening with the startup and why people go startup and that, so Harun, with we being entrepreneurs and we've been working in so many businesses and doing other things from that. So one of the basic questions is that is there a difference between a startup and entrepreneur?
Well, there are more commonalities than differences, but the term entrepreneurship or entrepreneurs, of course, came in use way before the term startup became more
Yeah,
popular. And entrepreneurship, startups, or proprietors, self owners, all of these terms effectively reflect the same thing: an individual having enough faith and courage in his or her own abilities, okay, to start generating business out of their own ideas.
yeah,
Okay. I'll tell you a very interesting story. You remember where we used to be in Dubai at some
that's
time
right. Yeah,
ago. So I met a customer, and this customer was basically a multimillionaire, very simple person, um, Iranian origin, and we were sitting over lunch, and I had this sudden urge to ask him. I wanted to know what was the secret of his success, right? That made him a multimillionaire.
yeah.
And here I was with all my MBA and everything, and nowhere near his wealth, nowhere near. So I asked him. I said, "How did you do it?" So he says, and sorry if I'm going to use the kind of
No,
accent, he
no.
says, Mr. Haroon, it's very simple. I go to Taiwan. He was in the auto spare parts business.
Mm-hmm.
Sharjah has many of these
Yeah,
stores.
yeah.
So he says, I go to Taiwan. I buy something for $1. I come and bring it here and sell for $2. And
Nice.
I do it over and over and over again. Buy for
Amazing.
$1, sell for $2, do it over and over again. I mean, I was just listening to this guy. I mean, he made it sound really, really simple.
Simple.
Okay. And
That's
but when I started thinking about it, and I, of course, being a banker, had access to the information, etc.,
right.
it's as simple as that to be an entrepreneur. It really is as simple to be an entrepreneur. Now, of course, nowadays when we talk about startups, we talk about disruptive technologies or
Yeah.
something that is completely out of the ordinary and generally related to technology, etc. But if you really break it down to a simpler part, it is anything that somebody has the belief in their own idea, in their own thinking, in their own way of doing things, and they take that idea to the market,
Yeah.
take the risks of taking it to the market, and then successfully implement it. They are the entrepreneurs. Okay.
Very, 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 very well defined. I really love that idea of going from $1, $2. Yeah, it does sound simple, but of course there's a lot of hard work which goes on that, and as you rightly said, it's also about the mindset as well. Bringing up an idea, but working towards that idea, and going through the whole process of believing in that idea is also something that comes in right through itself on that. So we got a couple of people who's joined in. So we're just going to say hi to
Sure.
Akhtar. And what is Akhtar saying? It's like when people said to me that you can't do it, I raised my eyebrows in my heart and responded, "Watch me. Awesome, Akhtar. That's right."
That's right.
That's what it is, right? When people say you cannot
Absolutely.
do it, you can do that on that.
To
So,
Akhtar's comment, most of
mhm,
the people I've come across who are naysayers, right?
yeah,
And to his are generally those who do not have either the courage or have never even tried themselves. So, uh, so a classic example again, just building on Akhtar's point
yeah,
on entrepreneurship. Even if a person has this aspiration to do something, a child goes and tells his parents or somebody, these are the people he commonly has trusted in the past.
yeah,
And most of these people have never been entrepreneurs in their lives. Okay. So they are trying to tell this person to say, no, you cannot do it because they are afraid of the unknown.
yeah.
And they feel that, okay, if our son or daughter follows a path, a regular path, a successful path, which gets the endorsement of everyone else, then that's the right way to go. It is changing, by the way. If you watch YouTube videos and you see, they have all these video clips of younger generation, and these men or women go around asking these younger people to say, hey, who would you prefer to marry? Now the preference is more towards businessmen than the usual doctor engineer category.
Wow. So
I'm
you're
just making
saying
it because it's
so so
across the
so,
world.
so you're saying is that for any of these entrepreneurs who are starting up late as well, they still have a chance of getting finding better situation that yeah,
Yusuf, it's never late. Okay, in my
it's
view,
never
it's
late.
never late.
That's
Okay,
true. That's
and
true. That's
it works wonders no matter at what time you start.
I agree with you. I agree with you. They say that, the KFC Kentucky Fried Chicken, they started up at the age of 69 on that.
Right.
It's always attitude and challenging your own self, your own self. Yes, that's absolutely right, Akhtar. So, coming to a very important point, you just now said that, when these kids go and talk to their parents and, they come up with an idea, most of these startups, or any kind of business you're coming up with that the funding, especially at the
Mm,
startup when it's an idea. Most of the time, we have seen that the initial funding is funded by the investors themselves and sometimes the family members as well on that. Apart from that, again, I'm going to a little bit on the commercial aspect of it
sure, sure.
to ask you this, like, after a certain time, when do you think what funding sources are available apart from the investment which is being put in by yourself, by your family members, something like that? At what stage do you come in where banks or startup or funding loans come into play, and what are the options anyway? For if yeah, yeah.
So good point, Yusuf. And there's a whole spectrum. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so let's start with let's say if we were to start our own company or a startup. Okay, and a person goes to his family and says, look, I have this idea, and I think this idea will have a huge demand. And pick any idea, making t-shirts which glow in the dark, or t-shirts which have tracker IDs that you can check on any mobile phone where the person is. Any idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing that person has to be able to demonstrate is that what is the idea, what problem is that idea solving?
Yeah.
Okay, what is the real problem out there, and how is it affecting people? So for example, again, cholera example, we have seen it on pets now, that you can put tracking IDs on the
Yeah.
collars of pets.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
problem in that case was that pets were getting lost, people did
Yeah.
not know where they were, and that problem was solved by getting that on the app. So once you have identified a problem, then you look at the scale of the problem and the type of market that would be interested in solving the problem, which your solution can provide. Now the question comes: who's going to fund that idea? Because you need to take it to the market. So typically, a person who has limited or no experience, okay, is the one who is known only by the people close to that person.
That's true.
So it could be your parents, it could be your closer siblings, or any neighbor, anybody who knows you enough to say, I can take a bet on this person because this person is a person who takes action. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people just talk. I mean, it's easy to talk, but a person who can actually take an action and people around that person know that is this person the type who actually does something or only talks, is the
That's
one who
right.
will get some funding to get the concept, the product into a prototype.
Yeah.
Now, once you have a working prototype and you have tested it in the market a bit, then a term commonly used as angel investor.
Okay.
Angel investors are typically people who like the prototype, who like the concept, they like the people behind the concept, and they're willing to give some basic funding. A lot of times the word seeding is or seed funding is used
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to take the concept or idea to the market. Okay. At this stage, there are not many customers, but they're ready to take it to the market. And even to take it to the market, there's some funding required. And this would be imagine this person's rich uncle, or it could potentially be even, you have heard the terms nowadays, the governments have started called incubators.
Yep.
So incubators are basically either private or government sponsored organizations which bring a certain level of platform for these ideas to prosper, right? Um so think of an incubator. The other term is an accelerator, right?
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
So you may have heard both terms. So
Mm-hmm.
incubator is, think of it as like somebody helping you with the right soil and the right seed,
Yeah.
okay, providing that capability. And then the accelerator is like a greenhouse,
Yeah.
right, which provides the right
Yep.
environment for you to prosper.
To grow. Yep.
So the government is, I'm trying to get into very basic layman terms here.
No, no, that's very nice. Yeah. Yes. Correct.
So the government and a lot of people and others, they are all trying to help these kind of ideas come to the market. Now, let's say I have come up with this idea. I go to PetSmart, Pet Store, whatever pet stores are there, and I say, look, I have come up with this idea, a collar, a tracking ID. You put it on the pet, whichever pet you have, and you can track them.
Yeah.
Now, once that initial idea has taken root in success, or through Facebook I've promoted, or YouTube I've promoted this idea, next step would be I'm ready to scale it up to a next level or invest and expand or whatever. That's when you start going into series of fundings, like Series A is the first round, Series B is the round up. So as you grow and expand, and as you have demonstrated more and more on your capabilities, the more mature kind of investment rounds come in. And to your answer your question, is it the banks? Is it so
Yeah.
typically it's either special government entities, because
Mm-hmm.
governments are trying to encourage entrepreneurship and job creation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's there. Um, then you will also find a lot of different terms are used, but venture capital is the most commonly used
Yeah.
broad term on that one.
Yeah.
And then at later stages, sometimes it's called private equity as well.
That's right.
And we have also started hearing the term of crowdfunding,
Yeah.
an idea.
Yeah.
So again, as I was telling you earlier, it's a whole spectrum of things. Crowdfunding is nothing, just as the name suggests.
It's
You,
the crowd.
it's a crowd that has been pulled together from different parts of the world digitally,
That's right. That's right.
and if they like their idea, they are able to invest and own part of that entity. So a lot of people, they say, hey, look, I'm going to take a chance. And these crowdfunding sites like Kickstarter and all that, they vet the ideas, they vet the people behind that. They get some renowned mentors and people to vouch for who these people really are, to avoid scammers.
That's that's very true. I mean, as you rightly said, out in terms of the funding, it starts from your home investment, and it goes into the various levels of funding. Which options are available on that. So, what very interestingly, what you're saying about the countries backing it out. So, I was just reading some of the articles, and one of them said that Toronto is the home of some of North America's top startups. You know, and also like in Canada, it's been placed like a fourth most influential startup hub worldwide, behind the USA, Israel, and the UK. So, I mean, again, from the government side of it, the support is also makes a difference in
Yes,
terms of these startups, that how the governments are looking at it, how they are supporting these startups on that. And a lot of time there is a startup, fundings available by the governments as well, depending upon the ideas which you have. And also, especially when we talk about Canada, if you can generate some employment, based
hmm
on that, then there are so many programs which are government funded programs, which get qualified. In fact, being in the banking industry yourself, you've seen like, like BDC Bank, yeah, they have certain fundings which is being funded by the government, depending upon, different business,
right,
not just a
right.
startup, but different businesses you're coming
Even
along with those things.
franchises, if you have a
Yes.
good franchise idea and they
Yeah.
want to find, and it's a proven successful template or model, they will fund it. That's right.
That's right. That's right. So we're going to say hi to Salam to Kashif. Thank you so much, Kashif, for joining us. So anybody who has joined us right now, we are talking to Mr. Haroon Anwar, our investment advisor at Juwai, a global investment advisor at Juwai IQI. And I always love my sessions because we're talking about different, things, not just a typical, the market updates and things like that. We're talking about what's happening in the world and what people are looking to do that. Now, having said that, talking about the startups and the or the entrepreneurs on that, how do you, again, people who are, uh, I think COVID is also another factor which has made a difference, where people who've lost their jobs have gone into some sort of a business now, or they're looking at, the startups on that. Do you think that COVID has impacted in the sense that people are now more towards looking into getting into businesses or coming up with startups?
Okay, very, very good point, Yusuf. Actually, um, and I think I should have talked about it earlier. One of the key ingredients of a successful entrepreneur is the passion they bring to the work they do. Okay, uh, it's not only a source of income.
Yeah,
If somebody becomes an entrepreneur because they think they will make great amount of money and they lack the passion or the love for what they're doing, the chances are they will fail.
hmm,
Okay,
very true,
because it is just one of those things,
very true. Yeah,
because you have to put in a lot of hours and no cash in return in the early stages. No matter what kind of an entrepreneur you are, you will end up making a lot of effort, time, investment of time, sometimes even resources,
yeah,
sometimes even make mistakes.
that's
Okay.
right.
So so a lot of people who say, okay, I've lost my job. I'm just giving that example where you said
Yeah,
COVID has resulted. So
yeah,
there's nothing wrong in them realizing that, okay, I want to be an entrepreneur and maybe do it. But one of the big things they will have to switch mentally to be successful as an entrepreneur is to be able to give up that desire to get cash flowing in every month into their account. And it all goes back to a lifestyle.
yeah, yeah,
Uh, let's take two examples, right? There's two fresh graduates that come out of university. One opts to become an entrepreneur, the other opts to become an employee.
that's
Okay?
right. Yeah, yeah,
So the starting point of an employee is going to be at a high level because whatever job they get a cash in their account on a monthly basis. Once they get the account, the money coming into the account on a monthly basis, there's predictability of cash.
yeah,
Predictability of cash will start defining their lifestyle.
true,
They say, okay, I
true.
get so much money, I can afford so much car, I can get so much of a house, whether they rent or buy, it doesn't matter. But they start building a lifestyle
Yeah,
along the predictability of their cash flow,
yeah,
right?
yeah, that's true. That's right. Yeah,
Now, here on the other side, let's say the guy who has started up in the entrepreneurship, and I'm just for ease of conversation, let's say in the real estate business.
perfect.
Okay.
Yeah,
So the first year will be unpredictable
that's right.
and probably not bringing in a lot of cash flow
Yeah,
because there's a lot of time where they're building a client base, they're building an understanding of the market, they're learning through their experience and mistakes, etc. So the paths will diverge. But let's say time goes by. The person who has started in real estate may sell one or two houses in the first year. But the
Yeah.
chances are the second year they would have sold more than twice of that number. Chances are,
Yep.
if they both are of equal intelligence and aptitude. So I'm
That's
assuming
right.
both individuals have that mindset.
Yeah.
The person who has joined the career will have, and there's nothing wrong with it, but this is again coming back to the mindset point.
Right.
Would have built a lifestyle which is dependent on that cash flow coming in. They have become addicted to that lifestyle where they start defining that they must earn this much just to support their lifestyle.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
that's how the mindset becomes.
That's
And
right.
typically, on a good or a bad day, increments generally at the current inflation rate are hovering around 5% at best per annum.
True.
Okay, and I'm talking about general
Yeah.
bonuses
Yeah.
aside. So
Yeah.
so you can then say if you start at $100,000 and then you project, not assuming a whole lot of jumps due to movements, etc., at a 5% growth rate.
That's right.
The real estate guy who started in the profession may make 20 grand in the first year. I'm just being lowballing that number. But it will jump to 60, 70 grand the next year.
That's right.
70 grand will become close to 180
Yep.
in the third year. Simply
Yep.
because they have figured out the model, they've figured out the template, they've got a set of clients now, and they're getting repeat sales, the new sales, etc. And around the 5 year mark is the magical number.
That's right.
Entrepreneur breaks through the barrier. Okay,
That's true.
they
Very
they
true.
break that. It's a 5 year commitment, 4 to 5 year commitment, and you can pick any time. You pick network marketing. It's a
Yeah.
4 to 5 year commitment.
Yeah.
Okay, and I tell a lot of people, I said, look, it's no different than in the past. Look at anybody, like a farmer, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, and what is a farmer doing? They put in their effort, sweat, in that promise that the yield of the crop will bring them the cash.
That's
And in
right.
some cases, if you have an olive garden or anything, you have to wait 5 years before the olive garden matures and starts paying you dividends out of that.
That's true. That's true. Very true. Very
Okay,
true.
so it's all about instant gratification. Now, coming back to your earlier questions, and I'm sorry I gave you this
No, no.
example just to
Perfect
draw the
example.
parallel.
Yeah.
So now a person has lost his or her job and they
Mm-hmm.
want to become an entrepreneur. Unless they
Mm-hmm.
recalibrate their mindset, it's going to be very difficult for them to switch. Because
Very
at the
well
back of their mind, they're still looking for that job.
said. Yeah.
And they will say, if this is their, they will never admit it, but in their mind, it's just a temporary or a transitory arrangement until they find the job.
True. Very
Okay?
true.
And then
Very
run
true.
back to the job. They will very quickly move back to the job. Because they find comfort in that okay, I'm getting some money coming in, I have debt, I have children's school fees, I have this.
Yeah.
Okay, now contrasted with the 5 year after 5 year entrepreneur who's in real estate, they're not looking for a job. The chances
No,
are,
they're
because
not.
they never started with a job, they never took on that kind of lifestyle, they never got into that kind of mindset, they put those 5 years still as continuing education. So you know how doctors are. They graduate from the medical school, they still go through residency, and they still don't make money until the 10th year,
That's true. That's true. Very
right?
true. Very
So
true.
think of the real estate person. I'm picking real estate as just one of the many professions,
Yep.
but could be
Yep.
any. So
Yeah.
you say, okay, after 4 years of my university education, I will still put in the 4 or 5 years as part of my education in which I'm to complete this. So I'm not
That's
going to be
right.
productive in generating money until I've finished the 10th year.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. So once the mindset is there, then the success is likely to follow. It's and it happens. We have seen it over and over again that the success will follow people who have the passion and the enthusiasm to go after it day by day. It doesn't come to those people who just show up dragging their feet and saying, you know what, well, another day and coffee and blame the boss and blame the dog, or there are different, you will see those people.
That's true. That's true.
Okay,
That's true.
And that's why I cautioned you on saying that, COVID may have resulted in people losing their jobs,
Yeah.
but until their mindset is calibrated to becoming an entrepreneur, the chances of them becoming a successful entrepreneur is quite low.
You very well said. I mean, the passion and the mindset is something very, very important, as you rightly mentioned. And a lot of times, because, uh, and again, I'll relate it to real estate because I'm in real estate, and a lot of time when agents come to me and either they are part time and they're looking from part time to become into a full time agent, and let's talk about a little bit about the because I'm relating it to the entrepreneur and the agent life
Yeah.
cycle as well. You rightly said, the first year may be a very tough year for the agents from that perspective, and they say a lot of time for the real estate agents as well. The first year and a half is normally very tough for you, if you're not planned up your expenses very well on that. Especially, you're right, there is no salary coming in, there's nothing which is getting credited to your bank account every month. But that's how you are managing yourself as well. Though you done one deal right now, how do you expense yourself out into next few things on that? Talking about the growth of it, and her own personal experience, and also what I've seen through my other fellow agents and my own teammates as well.
Hmm.
The growth is the sky's the limit. I have
Hmm.
seen growth going to 100%, 200%, 1,000% within a year's time as well on that, and you know what? And absolutely, as you rightly said, again, nothing wrong being, being a part of a job, but when we talk about the growth and we talk about
Hmm.
the business or the entrepreneurs, and that's the reason we say, that what is all about entrepreneurship is all about, it's about the mindset of the people, who are into that particular business. Because if you're not passionate and if you don't love what you do, you get up in the morning and say, what, I'm excited, I'm going to do it. And if you don't have
Hmm.
that excitement, you will not be able to see that success come to you on that. And again, why I'm relating it to real estate is that because I have seen it personally myself and through my other agents as well. 1 year, 2 years, believe it or not, they say that if you have not done for 3 years also, all you
Hmm.
need is that one good year
Hmm.
to cover up for all those previous, not 3 years, but 10 years
Right.
of those
Right.
things as well. And that's all about in terms of the mindset. Yes, financial aspects are there. That's why you need to plan up yourself as well. Again, when I talk to my fellow realtors, I tell them, let's come up with your plan. What is your plan? Let's look at your plan. A lot of times people come and tell me, what, if I make this much of money in my account, then I'm going to leave my job and then I get into the full time of the real estate. That, which is again, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that on that. But then, sometimes, they say that if you're not a risk taker, of course, calculated risk taker. I'm not saying just be blindly on that. If you are not a risk taker, then you will not be able to achieve what you're looking for. So I know everything you said was like very rightly pointed out on that.
Hmm.
And the similarities between a startup or entrepreneurship or yes, or any of the careers that yes, we see a failures having, and they said that 90% or 80% of startup failures will happen the first year of it. Is that yes, it's funding is one part of it. Idea is definitely a part of it on that. I think it's all about the mindset as well for
Uh,
the startup entrepreneurs.
See, look at even the more well-known entrepreneurs. Okay,
Yeah,
we talk about the world of Elon Musk
yeah,
and Steve Jobs
yeah,
and Bill Gates.
yeah,
Any of these.
yeah.
What people forget, all of them made mistakes.
That's
All of
right.
them. All of them made mistakes. They lost money. They had self-doubts. There were times when people thought that they did not know what they were doing. Okay, but what separated them from this is their own self-belief.
That's right.
Okay, they knew what they wanted. They were determined to get it, and no amount of self-doubt or the negative people around them was going to change them. A lot of times you will hear or see entrepreneurs going bankrupt.
Yeah,
Okay, they still come back. They don't take a
still
job. They
come back.
still come back and start all
That's
over again.
true. That's true.
They
That's
don't give
true.
up.
Don't give
And
up. The
that's
mindset.
that's what I mean by the mindset,
Yeah.
right? And do you think they don't have family members or parents or anyone else
They
telling them,
do.
okay, come on, give up, just take a job and do this. You can earn this much money. And I'm sure many people do,
Yeah, yeah,
but then you also see them leading miserable lives.
that's true. That's true.
Okay.
That's true.
Now,
Very true.
so it's coming back to this, people who are saying, I must earn so much before I quit my job. So these people are called straddlers, right? They're sitting on
Yep.
on the
Yeah,
fence. Okay. And the sad part about the straddlers is they're neither committed to their job nor
that's
are they
right.
committed to their new profession. Okay.
Great.
And
Great. Very true.
these people by and large you will see are not good employees
Mm-hmm.
and by and large not very successful in what they're doing because they don't believe themselves. They
That's
lack
true.
that faith and belief in themselves. So they want some external factor to kick in their favor for help that factor to make the decision for themselves.
That's true. Very, very true. You very rightly
You
said.
just
Yep.
observe these people. One of the things I enjoy the most is how I see people blame others for their problems. You, a lot of people, you will meet in different shapes and forms who will always try to find a reason to blame someone else for their
That's right.
failure.
That's right. That's right. That's
Okay,
very true. Very true.
and they're
Very true.
not the right mindset to become entrepreneurs.
Absolutely. Having said about the right mindset, and I have to bring this here again. Why I brought this message again from Kashif and Sari. Six people started with IQI Global Real Estate 10 years ago. And today we have over 21,000 agents in 21 countries. So that's
Hmm.
the spirit of the entrepreneurship and the mindset. When they started up, in KL, and, a lot of people said, oh, this is not going to work. That is not going to work. But one thing was always there was the mindset and the belief that, they will be, that they're going to succeed. And you know what? And as you and I are here right now with this platform of Juwai IQI and talking to each other, and this is where the connectivity comes
Right,
in as well, Haroon, right, between us. And that's what I always say, the connectivity between me and all of my other, fellow country heads and all the teams on that. That is because of a platform which was being created by this, six entrepreneurs on that.
right.
So Kashif has a great comment. Bless, great team. Blessed to have the best team. Thank you so much, Kashif, for that.
So, so I'll add to Kash's comment and to your observation as well. It's not by chance that six people of similar thinking and mindset come
Yeah,
together.
yeah,
It's not by chance. It happens whether we know it or not by design.
that's right.
The way we are, our frequency attracts those kind of people to come and be part of this.
Very well said.
Okay,
Very
and
well
then they
said.
stay along. They stay the path. Okay, even when the things are not going as planned, even when things are rough.
Yeah,
The of course, whether you are friends or you are in a relationship or anything, if you're not on the same level of frequency,
that's true.
it's not going to work.
That's not going to
it,
work.
it
Very true.
has to stay together, and it has to be something for the long term. Overlook the short term
True.
hiccups, right?
True.
Every
True.
single hiccup is not a disaster. Then some
Absolutely
people
correct.
overreact. A
Yeah,
small hiccup of any type, and they think the world has fallen apart.
that's right. That's true. That's true. Very
So
true.
we have to have that. Again, I keep repeating the same thing over and over again, that yes, it has rewards. Entrepreneurship carries a lot of benefits, startups. But when we start differentiating on what wins and what doesn't win, you have to go back and analyze the people behind it and the amount of enthusiasm and belief they had in what they were doing that
That's
made them
true.
become successful. Otherwise, just look at your examples. I mean, you talk about the six people. If
Yeah.
someone were to say, "Hey, is real estate a new thing?" You say, "No, it's not really a new thing,"
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yes.
If
Not.
someone were to say, "Hey, guys, do you have any real estate experience yourselves? Have you been in real estate?" As a question, you
Yeah.
said, "No, no, not really." So then people would, you can go through the list, and
Yeah.
a skeptic would say, "No, your model is not going to be good enough."
That's
But the
right.
people who believe in themselves
Yeah,
and so we genuinely know we have the ability to do it and
that's
we
right.
can do a great job and we will try and keep at it until we deliver the result,
That's true.
they are the ones who are going to be successful.
Very, very, very well said. You're absolutely, spot on, 100% on that. Anything else you want to add up? It's like, when we talk about startup entrepreneurship, there's so many things which we can continue. And I think, Arun, we should really, get into a little bit more details of it in one of our other programs and go a little bit more details of in terms of the startups and educate people more on this. But as you rightly said, it's the mindset, that makes a big difference, especially, for startups, entrepreneurs. You got to have that positive mindset. Anything else you want to say before we say bye to our audience?
Well, I would encourage listeners to look at life slightly differently.
Hmm.
Okay, life is not linear. First of all,
Yeah,
okay, expect life to throw challenges at you, and people who succeed are the ones who have the right mindset to take those challenges as opportunities. And entrepreneurs know that.
that's right.
Okay, disruptive, generally speaking, is a negative word, right? So
Yep,
disruption.
yep.
But now in this new startup, disruption is become a positive thing
Positive thing. True.
where you break down the old way or traditional way of doing things and discovering new ways and new ideas of doing things.
That's true. That's
And you
true.
find a better way to do things than you have been doing in the past.
Amazing.
Okay, so this is where I would really like to leave this thing that do not think all audience members, whoever are there, that disruption or hiccups are a bad thing. See them as opportunities to learn and grow and develop further and to take a long term view. The success will follow if you have the right passion.
Again, success will follow if you have the right passion. Very nice golden words. Thank you so much, Arun. It's always a pleasure having you on my Maple
Likewise.
Monday. And, thank you for the audience who are watching us. If you guys have any comments or you want, us to talk about any of the topics which come into your mind, feel free to contact us. Our contact information is there. You can always leave a comment and we would love to talk about a specific topic or subject you're looking for that. With this note, please take care of yourself, everybody, and have a wonderful evening. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you.